Hey everybody, been having a ton of questions lately in regards to not only the properties that people obviously that we're listing and selling, but the buyers. And we're finding a number of mistakes that buyers are making, or even the people that are representing them, right? So let me tell you the top 5 mistakes that people are making in today's market. Five mistakes that people are making. Number 1, people aren't looking at enough properties. They've seen an environment where there was so many and so little homes on the market. They felt like, hey, this is the very first one I gotta take. And I will tell you, if you find an amazing property, you do need to obviously take it off the market because it's an amazing home. But no, the mistake they're making is they're not spending the time and the due diligence to evaluate the best properties. We call it the 110-1 rule. You find 100 properties online, you narrow it down to your top 10, and you typically end up picking one. So make sure that you're doing that due diligence and evaluating that property properly. Number 2, they're not understanding that terms are just as valuable as price. As interest rates increase, obviously that will affect the price. Now, when you're finding an amazing property, is there maybe, if there's a change in the market, in the macro market, and you are in a micro economy, how will it affect it? Those are the numbers you need to run. We have people that are getting into properties and they're finding out we don't even qualify for this because of a changing market. Whereas the people that know what's happening in the market, they're making their offers accordingly. And not only are they capturing the property, they end up getting the property for a price that matches the terms of the market. Number 3, I hate to say it, folks, but people have forgot that a normal market is where a buyer and a seller meet. People aren't negotiating. The average time on the market when it was absolutely white hot, red hot market, in fact, I remember writing it down. I've never seen anything like this before. That market was, we have an average time frame on the market of about 6 days, okay? And what we're finding is as we're getting more inventory, a normal market is typically 3 to 6 months. And so as we've seen more properties hit the market, and as we've seen maybe less go under contract, it's not so much the market is this really negative market. What it is it's a changing market, and it gives people more opportunity to negotiate. We're finding people are sometimes not, they're the people that are maybe helping them, they're not helping them very much because they've never been in a normal market. They've never had to negotiate. They don't know how to negotiate repairs. They don't know how to negotiate appraisals. They haven't been able to give them the advice of the type of repairs that a property may have necessary, or they don't have the contacts to assist them. So what do we need to do? The mistake is just make sure you're looking at it different. You're taking the time to negotiate. You're taking the time to see what can maybe be adjusted to make it make sense for you. I had an agent that called me. He had a property that he absolutely loved. This is an agent with years in the business. And I said, well, why don't you just make an offer that makes sense to you? And he's like, well, can I do that? And I was like, this is the issue. Because if he's helping a buyer, he's giving the same advice. So make sure you get the right person. But number 2, make sure you make the right decisions and do it strategically. The final mistake that buyers are making in this market is they're sitting on the sidelines. There is very good opportunities to be had. And I want you to think about the following, because some people, when they hear that, are like, oh, come on, or they're actually super excited. I want you to think about, in a changing market, there is opportunities for people to be more creative. Remember how people just couldn't qualify at an existing rate? What if I ended up saying to you, rates were at 3.5, rates end up going up over 6%. I own my home outright and I have a certain price in mind. Could I go to that buyer and say to them, rates are up over 6%, but if you want to be, if you would like to have me pay you directly, not only will you get cash flow, but I'm going to pay you money down. And if you'll give me a 3.5% rate, I'll pay you your price. I mean, those types of transactions now are available because people understand they may want their price, but they may put the terms just right in line. So I just want you to consider that as an option. Also, that when people sit on the sidelines, they're waiting for things to happen. And I just would say this, in business and life in general, you got to make things happen. You need to make and find things that are going to happen for you. If the market isn't in line, then you don't buy that property. But if you can find something that makes sense, you go after it and you secure it. I will tell you, the market changed significantly, but I'm still looking at properties, but I'm looking at the terms, I'm looking at what makes sense, and I'm making a decision to say what will change in the next 3, 5, 6, 12 months to a year. And you make that offer accordingly based on what you have in your hands and the knowledge that you have. Nobody will ever know the top of the market or the bottom of the market. I bought them at both. And what I'll tell you is, as long as you're a long-term investor, you're keeping and holding it long-term, you're understanding the true dynamics of what real estate does and the power of cash flow, that it can affect your life short-term and long-term, that's when I would tell you, just get off the sidelines, get in the game. I promise you'll be excited. If you have questions about how you should be buying things, what are the things I should be considering? What are the terms? What are the offers? What are the people? What are the things I should be doing? Reach out to us. We're here to help you. We look forward to talking to you then.